Nation, how are you this fine evening? I'm doing quite well. Before I start tonight's proceedings, there's one thing that I do have to do, and that's I have to give a shout out to Kelly Schaefer of Atheist, who was able to post my review of the newest Atheist record, Jupiter, which I reviewed just about a week or so ago, up on his Facebook wall. Thank you very much, man. Even though you may not have been totally impressed with the review or anything like that, I just appreciate the fact that you were willing to share it with all of your fans. So thank you. That's something that I highly respect, and something that you really didn't have to do. I really appreciate it, man. So now it's time to get on with tonight's proceedings, and tonight's proceedings is the new Agalloch record, which is entitled Marrow of the Spirit, and it will be released on the 23rd of this month via Profound Lore Records, which is actually a new home for the band. Now, this is the same band that has produced metal classics in the post-rock, or like sort of the post-metal, black metal, doomy, folky sense. The one that really stands out the most to me is, of course, The Mantle, but people will also list Ashes Against the Grain or some of their early works, such as Of Stone, Wind, and Pillar, along those ranks as well. And this is the fourth release by this particular band. Now, Agalloch has always been a band that has been a little bit about experimentation. There's been some orchestral elements that have been in their earlier work, along with some choiring. There's been a lot of little divulsions of their sound that they've been able to use in order to create just the most perfect soundscapes imaginable. And this is an American-based product, so this is Pride from the USA, and it's not often that you can actually say anything positive about a band of this nature from the States. I mean, this is really a really good success story. It's something that I really enjoy talking about. Now, as for this album itself, it's a 6-track long affair, and this contains some of their longest compositions to date. Now, of course, many moons ago, I did a review on their CD, The Mantle, on my old account, Cover Killer, not Cover Killer Nation, which is where you are at right now. And I mentioned the song In the Shadow of Their Pale Companion, which is the longest track that I had seen on an Agalloch record. Well, that gets exceeded on this particular record with track number 4, Black Lake Nidstrang, which I, of course, bastardized the last word because it's just what I do, apparently. But at any rate, this entire album from front to back has a very earthly feel to it. It's something that that was claimed that it was recorded on old style, vintage equipment, so to speak, which was done at Audible Alchemy Studios in Portland, Oregon, which is right around their origin. And the cool thing about this is that it actually gives it a very homely feel, and also gives it a very organic feel. And these are two things that whenever you put it to an atmospheric style project, such as what Agalloch is able to accomplish and what they do, it really creates the atmosphere all the better, because it really has that kind of grainy, that almost vinyl side and sense to it. It's really cool. It's a really neat little experience. Now, another thing about this album that will be kind of a real night and day philosophy from their last release, which was the White EP, which was released in 2008, is that this is a lot heavier. This really kind of channels back to their origin, to their first recording, so to speak. Not to mention takes a twinge of information from The Mantle and from Ashes Against the Grain, kind of just mishmashes it together into one giant pot. And this is something that's seen the most in the single that was released entitled The Watcher's Monolith, which is track number 3 on this release, where you really kind of hear that whole Mantle sound to it. And it's something where, if you're an Agalloch fan, it's something that's very, very familiar to you. Like I said, there's 6 tracks. Let me go down the tracks for you. We have They Escape the Weight of Darkness, which is an introductory track, which kicks off the album about 3 minutes and 41 seconds, the shortest track on the affair. Into the Painted Gray, which is a track that is 12 minutes, and 12 and a half minutes roughly in length, that has kind of a very catchy little hook to it. This is something that Agalloch is also able to sometimes accomplish. It's not catchy in a sense where it's going to make you want to shake your ass or something like that gay-ass pop bullshit. It's just one of those things that sticks into your head that has a particular meaning, and that's something that's really cool. Of course, The Watcher's Monolith, track number 3, nearly 12 minutes in length, has that real philosophy that reminds me a lot of The Mantle, and I really like this track. It's something that I was in Blog TV, and it's the first thing I noticed. Of course, I already mentioned track 4, which is a 17-minute, 34-second long epic, which really channels in many styles of music. Definitely check that out. It's a really unique experience. Reminds me a lot of Hessian Peel by Opeth, in the fact that there's no real song in Agalloch's catalog that really resembles this at all. It's something that's completely new, it's completely different, I completely like it. Ghost of the Midwinter Fires is track number 5, and To Drown is the epic 10-minute long finale. Now, overall, this is a fantastic release. Now, does this album deserve to be mentioned in the same league as the predecessor, Ashes Against the Grain? Well, I think absolutely. This is an album that really retains those earthly elements that Agalloch has always been very well known for. Not to mention they add the vintage equipment to actually give those elements even more significance and prominence throughout the album. Not to mention, finally, they also have expanded their sound even more so. If you thought that was impossible, listen to the record and you'll see exactly what I mean. Actually, you'll hear it. But, you know, that's how the saying goes. Old fans will definitely like this release because it definitely channels some of that darker energy that they had on the early part of their career. Fans of their newer work will definitely love it because it still has that exploration. It still has that post-rock element to it. If you're a new fan, this is a great entrance point. Overall, it's just a fantastic release. Definitely highly recommend it whenever it comes out on November 23rd, 2010. I expect each and every one of your asses at your local store to pick it up because this is a track, this is an album, this is a body of work. Completely. That is definitely worth your cash, ladies and gentlemen. So check it out. The album, once again, is Agalloch, Marrow of the Spirit. This is Cover Killer Nation, and stay tuned for the next review. And thanks again, Callie, for viewing the video.